I would welcome everyone. This is the third episode for being CMT. As you all know, this conversation with all the CMT charter holders is all about helping out you in your journey from start to the end. We are having a very special guest today. His name is Ashish Kyal. Uh, I guess he's one of the people if you are into the world of technical analysis or stock market, because he's a regular face on be it TV channels, print media, or electronic media. Ashish also is one of the people who is holding or who has that CMT charter. I guess it is now few years. Probably I completed CMT back in 2019, but I've been watching Ashish for like last 7, 8 years. So without further ado, thank you, Ashish. Thank you for your time today and coming abroad, and giving us half an hour of your day to share, your journey with everyone who is going to watch this.
Thank you, Lovelish, for inviting me here on this platform. It's always pleasure to talk about the journey, the way, the ups and the downs, along with the markets, and
Right,
it's fantastic to be speaking here.
right. So thank you. I'll just give a small introduction, then we'll have our, 4 or 5 quick questions with Ashish, and he's going to answer and share his thoughts on the same. So Ashish is, a chartered market technician. He is also one of the founders of Waves Strategy Advisors. And he's also founder of Ashish Kyal Trading Gurukul. He is one of the authors as well, and I think this is one of the toughest job to pen down the thoughts of such a vast experience of effective trading in financial markets using technical analysis. So you might know him, but still I would say that he has been a regular face. You might see him winning those weekly contests on CNBC, where he's outperforming every now and then, and he's a very known face in the print and electronic media. So this is all about Ashish, and I'll just start with the questions now.
Thank you, Lovelish, for the kind introduction. Yeah, and you rightly pointed out that it's very challenging to pin down, when to pin down the entire thoughts that you have with respect to writing a book, publishing it across. It's not an easy job to do because when you talk something, you can still be okay, not being very
Yes,
accurate. But when you are penning it down, you need to be ensuring each and every word written is correctly there. So it has been a challenge when I was writing the book on effective trading in technical analysis. Using technical analysis, it has been a
yes,
challenge. Co-authored by Smita Roy from NIBM.
yes.
So it's a fantastic journey.
So
So maybe eventually we will talk about that as well.
yes, I do have a question on that, but let's take that first.
Okay.
How much time it took, Ashish? Because writing a book itself, I think it's a very humongous task, to be honest. So how much time did it take
Yeah.
yours, for
Yeah, sure.
completing this?
So the book and for coincidentally I have this book here. So this is the
Nice,
book we are talking
nice.
about,
Yes,
and it's a challenge. I mean, when I have been writing for more than a decade. So I did my CMT way back in 2008, 2009, and I've been writing research in journals of technical analysis. I've written
yes,
for
Jota. Yes,
CMT also. I've written for IFT. I've written for many of those journals and other places. So I was confident when we started writing this book. I was confident that it would be easy and it would not take much of a time. And but to be very honest, when I started, it took us, I would say, nearly around 2 years to
okay.
pen it down before we were ready with our entire final draft and went for publication, which took another, I think, 3 6 months for them to approve and get it out. So it's not only about research. When you're writing in the book, you will not believe I have 5 6 books which I have read across during the CMT. During our days of CMT, there were more than 10 15 20 books you have to go through
Yes,
to pass that examination, and I have most of them available with me. So I've
okay.
opened up all of those books again before writing
Yes,
this down so that I can refer the correct
yes,
terminology, the
yes,
language, how it has to go, what is the flow. and so many things. So, writing right from the bibliography to ensuring acknowledgements to preparing that index, and it's a huge, humongous task. But I'm glad that it came out well, and it is highly appreciated. The
Yes.
best part about the book is it is being edited by the chapter on Elliott Wave, which I specialize on, has been edited by Mr. Robert Proctor himself of
Yes.
Elliott Wave
Yes.
International. So that's an honor. When you have grown in the field of technical analysis, reading books about Martin Frink, Robert Proctor, and Mark Galvesky, and all of those people, and they have endorsed the book, in fact, and they have even edited my chapter. So that itself shows that in just a decade's time, when I was studying their books and now I've published one, it's a huge growth from where I was and where I am, and all of this confidence about doing this and the credibility is definitely credit to CMT.
I
There is no
believe,
second thought.
yes, yes, because having Robert Proctor himself, I mean, that is like getting God himself to write it down on Elliott waves, you know. So that
Yes,
is true. So, since you mentioned about, CMT and how you did in 2009, so, how do you got to know about CMT? Let's start from there. I mean, after your school, how do you got to know about CMT? In fact, before getting to know about CMT, how you got introduction to like technical analysis? When was that first time? Probably decades ago. I know that, but still.
yeah. So this was way back, I think, when I was pursuing my management. So I'm an engineer student. Post that, I worked with Asian Paints for some time,
Okay.
and then I joined Somaya Institute, pursued my management studies. But to be honest, I pursued my MBA in systems, not in finance,
Okay.
and that's like a huge difference what I'm doing now. It was then that I got introduced to markets, and it's also because my father used to have terminals, and so I was aware about what is stock market, how it functions. But in my management studies, I came across some technical analysis concepts. I read about it, but I had no plan that I'm going to do something with respect to that.
Hmm.
I joined Lehman Brothers way back in 2007.
Okay.
And we know 2008 was a catastrophic financial
Yes.
crisis
Yes.
across the globe where everything crashed.
Hmm.
So, and I was a part of that crash inside the company of Lehman Brothers
Okay.
that filed for bankruptcy.
Right.
So that was like an eye opener for me. And I was studying for CFA. I was trying to do all of those fundamental analysis, and I was like, "Wow, if if I am doing those fundamental analysis, but in that period of 3 months everything just changed because the market sentiment just drastically changed." And I thought to myself, which means that prices know more than what I know, or markets know more than what I know, and you have to focus on prices for sure, because Lehman Brothers stock prices continued to collapse during the period of 6 8 months before they finally filed for bankruptcy. So that collapse which was happening was already known by the market players that something is not right,
Right.
and they were already hammering the stock big time. Bastions, Lehman, Goldman, Citi, all of those stocks were collapsing, but Lehman was, specifically Lehman and Bastions, were like crazily down.
Yes.
And we were called by the management who said that you should not worry, things should be okay. Lehman Brothers is trading below its fair value if you understand fundamentals. And I was like, wow, it's trading below its fair value. You should go and buy. That was the commentary from the management of Lehman Brothers. And see what happened next. So I realized that was an eye opener. So that was the time I started researching someone. I started reading about or finding out research analysts. So to be honest, in 2008, 2007, 8 or 9, there was hardly anyone known as CMT, at least in India.
Hmm.
Globally, also
Right.
there were very less number of people.
Yes.
And I was desperate to learn about price actions, about how the market behaves, about something that no one is talking about is technical analysis. During
Right.
those days, no one talked about technical analysis.
Yes.
And I came across a research published by someone, and he used the designation as CMT after his name.
Okay.
And I thought, I mean, let me check out. Everyone published CFA after their name, and this is the first time I saw CMT as someone writing after their name in a research.
All right.
And when I Googled, I searched, I found that there is a study of technical analysis in a very systematic, process, rigorous process, credibility in terms of once you clear that levels, you have a huge credibility, at least in global markets in
Yes.
US and things like that. And then I started Googling it out, found something, and I simply went and registered for it.
Huh.
And I had no clue or intention that at one day I'm going to author a book or running my own firm or teaching or mentoring about technical analysis, but I just did it because I was fascinated about the subject, and I thought there has to be a systematic way of doing things and learning things. And that's how I started my journey on CMT.
Yeah, so it's a long. So back in 2009, I guess it would be like count on one hand or two hands kind of numbers when.
Exactly. Not even that many. In India, there were not even that many. Maybe a few, five, six people who were there for then talking about CMT. Hardly anyone. So the challenge was how to get the books, how to get it done, and how to go about it. And then the books were very expensive. So
Yes.
lot of things have to be managed. And you know what? I cleared all the three levels of CMT in 1 year of time.
That is nice. That is astonishing, I would say. Because
Yes.
why it is because right now what we have is like a systematic approach of having one book compiled. I guess back in 2008-9, you would be recommended 10 to 12 different books.
Yeah,
And you
more than
have
that,
to,
nearly 20 books, and you don't know whether you will be having access to those books or not. So you have to really search for those books,
yes,
get it, and pay a hefty price to get those books, and then study it. And each book has is an encyclopedia in itself.
yes,
But
yes,
and that was a fantastic thing. I actually was able to crack all the three levels in 1 year because it was so passion. I was so passionate about learning this subject, and it was so amazingly structured that I was like, wow, it's something I was looking for, and I hit the gold mine, and that's why I cleared all the three levels in 1 year. And I didn't even know that how I'm going to get the sponsors. You require three
yes,
sponsors for CMT.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I
And
had no clue how to go about it, and lot of things.
yeah, well, but that's a great journey. I mean, when you are sharing about, working inside the Lehman Brothers and seeing how it all went down, I mean, it's rather than watching a movie, what you see in The Big Short or, Margin Call,
Exactly.
sharing something like that.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, I was responsible for even looking at the portfolios of big hedge funds
Right,
that Lehman was financing, the various stocks that they were holding, and how everything just collapsed.
right.
So how much leveraged Lehman was, how much leveraged the portfolios of hedge funds were. So, and I was responsible for managing risk,
Okay.
and how much leverage we are allowed to take,
Right.
and it was a very wonderful experience. I mean, and
Yes.
then Nomura took over. So I was with Nomura for some time before I started on my own,
Mm, mm,
and then finally thought
mm.
I want to be full time into technical analysis, trading, teaching, if that is possible one day, and I'm doing
Experience,
that now.
experience of a lifetime. Right.
Exactly. And it you will so that's how it works. So people might say 2008 was chaotic and it was a disaster. Yes,
Mm,
but there was opportunities.
yes.
Like for me, it's fantastic because I learned so much in that 1 year of time that it might take you ages or maybe your entire
Absolutely.
lifetime to learn something like
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. And that was like for years, it went down for quarters. Like we cannot experience it like what happened in 2020. That was few months, but
Right.
2008 is a different thing altogether.
Exactly. So 2008 was like a systematic collapse. And the best part about 2008, which I loved, I've not talked about it much, but
Mhm.
the best part about 2008 was entire world was fighting against bringing up the economy as if we are fighting against an alien.
Right,
So
right.
everyone is talking, we are banning short selling, we are doing this, we are doing this. Entire world talking in one language was like, wow. I mean, you have never seen such a unity globally
Yes.
until pandemic happened. But and that 2008 taught us, what greed can do to us, and then we were
Yes.
able to change that sentiment. We wanted to change it across, and everyone wanted to come out of that great depression, not a great depression, which was 1929, but
Yes.
yeah, a very similar story to that. And then it unfolded on the upside. So it was like world coming together, trying to fight something that created by our own
Own,
financial systems.
yes, yes. Fighting your own demons.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
So, Ashish, that was like, this one thing is also very important that you were from a totally technical background. You had MBA systems and technical. So, was it a bit difficult for you? Like, there are people joining in CMT from different backgrounds, especially now, technical people coming in and taking over the roles. So, did you find it like a bit difficult in starting, or was it like, comfortable for you to clear all the three levels in one go? That is something fast. But
So,
what?
so it's not that difficult as long as you understand stock market. When I say understand stock market, you understand prices. You
Yes.
understand the science or the logic behind what is happening around.
Mm.
So I had been a voracious reader, reading a lot of things, not newspapers, to be very honest. Even till
Okay.
date, I don't read newspapers
Okay.
very rigorously. I just understand what is happening around. But reading about what is uh, making sense in terms of the prices. So I used to track a lot of indices. I used to see what's happened globally. So even if you're not practicing technical analysis, or you are simply looking at fundamentals also, still you need to know what is happening with the Baltic Dry Index, because that helps you to understand what the goods that has been transported from one place to other, is it happening or not. So that helps to understand what is happening with commodity. You look at what is happening with the forex market, because then you know the currencies of which countries are strong. You look at the stock indices of US, FTSE, Indian markets, Japanese markets. So I was already doing those things, because I was anyways analyzing portfolios of stocks for hedge funds and doing
Yeah.
risk management on that end.
Mhm.
So, so being a CMT, to be honest, for me was not difficult. Yes, the terminology, the language, understanding technical analysis, understanding Dow theory, there were so many things you have to learn. But it was all like reading a novel for me, because you it is such an enriching experience when you go through that process, when you go through those books. It's such lovely experience that I did not find it even for a moment that I'm doing it for an exam. I
Yeah.
just simply learned out of it, and it was not difficult. Being a technical person, not having that experience, not having that background, if I am able to do it in 1 year, I think anyone can do it for sure.
Yeah, that is very interesting what you said. I mean, not to clear the exam, but it is actually to enrich your own knowledge, which is going to help.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. We have already done a lot of things for our passing marks in examinations, right? In schooling, in engineering, even in management, to be honest.
Right.
So I no longer was behind in pursuit of marks. I was in pursuit of enriching my experience and learning.
That is one great thing to actually quote. So, this change which you have seen, I probably think you have gone a lot from 2007, 2008, and then having CMT after your name. So, what is the big difference you have noticed in terms of your perspective about the market, or in terms of your knowledge about the market before this particular course, CMT, and
Right.
after attaining or clearing this exam, and how, what was the difference which you observed?
So there was a huge difference, I would say. First of all, in terms of credibility, since I cleared CMT and I got the CMT charter, it definitely increased my credibility, because people know that I am serious about the subject. So if I'm looking out for a job, I want to switch it, I want to do something of my own, I can at least write that I'm a CMT. So people will take me seriously and not just think that I'm someone who is just trying
Right.
to play around and do it just as every other person
Yes.
in the industry is trying to claim that he is a technical analyst, right?
Right.
So that was one intention.
Mhm.
And the second is, it gives you a step-by-step approach towards uh, learning about various aspects of technical analysis. So you are exposed to Dow theory, you are exposed to patterns, you are exposed to
Right.
Elliott waves, you know algos. So this gives you confidence, because you are now not worried what is the terminology. So you know all the terminology, you know the
Yes.
EBCs, and you can now form your own words and sentences, and you can play around.
Yes.
So that gives confidence, that gives credibility, and since it is very systematically done, so you are not missing out or leaving aside anything. So for example, if we are an engineer, we leave certain subjects as optional, we do this, we leave that. So it's not that. It's like you are through everything, right from trading psychology to creating systems to forming your algos to doing all of those things.
Yes.
And that is a huge difference between what I was and what I was before CMT and what I became after CMT. So I even in my book, the if you check the acknowledgements, I've
Mhm.
mentioned it very clearly that it I wouldn't have been here if it wouldn't have been a CMT for me.
Right, that is so nice and generous of you as well. So, what makes a CMT so special for you? I mean, you were at one point in time you were looking at understanding fundamentals and CFA as well. So, right now, I mean, I would want to know what makes CMT so special for you. If also because there are so many courses out there, what
Right.
kept CMT so special for you?
So see, one is the platform that was provided to me. So the way I learned Elliott wave in which I specialized is also the first thing I did after learning about it was write for the Journal of CMT newsletters. So because when you're writing for someone, you need to ensure it's correct and someone is there to edit and check if your content is proper. So
Mm.
that's the platform I got. I've written for them number of times. That's the platform. The second platform was a huge interaction that I was able to do. Those were the days when online was not the name of the game. So you
Mhm.
need to be interacting. So even then, I was able to interact with a few and mention them that I am a CMT and I need assistance and something like that. So I was able to do that. That's fantastic. And the reason why CMT is special is because also all of those studies which I have gone through, I started forecasting markets. In 2013, I published a research report, my monthly research to my clients,
Mm.
where I forecasted Sensex will turn 61,000
Oh.
by 7 to 8 years of time. And this research was published in 2013 year. And by 2021 October, which is eighth year, Sensex touched 61,000. And from there, we have seen a collapse already. My forecast on Bank Nifty was that Bank Nifty in 7 to 8 years of time. So 2013 plus 8 years comes 2021 again.
Right.
Bank Nifty will be 40,000.
Right.
2013 Bank Nifty was at 12,000 levels.
Yes,
And
and
people called,
40,000.
and 40,000 was the forecast. And then people called me crazy. I mean, he said, a few of my clients said, how is it possible? 12,000 to 40,000 you are claiming. And I said, that's what my Elliott wave forecast, my studies, my research are suggesting. And 2021 came and 40,000 despite of pandemic event of 2020.
Yes.
So that forecast I was able to do in 2013. Imagine, I studied CMT in 2009. In 3 4 years of time, I was forecasting market 7 8 years down the line, and everything coming true right now.
Yes.
Simply showcase the quality which this specific degree helped me out with. The quality of learning that I had was simply fabulous, and that is the reason I was able to do that. Otherwise, you can't just do it. If you can study on your own, it's not necessary you have to go to schooling. You can do that. There are home schools, but are you really that passionate, and do you have that perseverance to keep
Yes.
pursuing it?
Yes.
So I was not the guy. I was more like, if there is something systematically already there, I will rather do it that way rather than inventing the wheel again.
Yes, I would totally agree with that because I myself, I'm a price action. I look at price action and kind of into algorithmic trading. But then the best of the forecast, which I have seen, is has to be from someone who practices Elliott waves. And I went through your face to face when you gave for Elon markets and with Akshay. I was in it, and yes,
Okay,
something
fantastic.
that was something fantastic. Right.
Great,
So,
great.
coming to the last, there are students or there are people who are looking to take up this course with the evolution or the kind of reach now technical analysis has. I think a few months back it was one of the most googled terms from India, technical analysis, if I'm right. So what is the advice for especially someone who's looking to take up this course and attain the charter, and how would you give a few words of advice to them for this journey and how it can help?
I also get a lot of people approaching me for the CMT degree, seeing that I'm a CMT and being around on the media and other places. So they do approach me, which is fantastic. But the problem and the challenge with the newbies is they are approaching it like any other examination they have already taken, maybe a BCom or an engineering or those things. The first advice that I would like to give it to them: do not approach it like an exam. Approach it like a proper system which is going to enrich your life for years and years ahead. If you do it that way, where you want to make your career and looking it from that perspective, then get into this field.
Yes.
Second, do not approach it. So many people come to me and ask, will I get a job? I said, when you enter schooling, were you sure that you are going to get into a college, or you are going to pass it out or not? Or after passing out the college, were you sure that you are going to get a job? So why you are pursuing this subject also? For I was saying is, do not approach the subject for getting a job, but rather approach the subject for ensuring that you are here for learning something that can help you for lifetime. Because if you want to invest into markets, if you want to trade, if you are an option trader, everyone has something to learn out of it. So
Yes.
do not, whether you are a doctor or an engineer, does not matter, or you are a finance student, does not matter, because you ultimately want to know what's happening around the world. And the best way to know about that is to look at stock prices or indices. And once you know that, you can know what is happening with the economy. So you don't really have to uh, depend on anyone. I
Yes.
don't really listen to most of the people who are talking on television, to be honest, because
Right.
I don't really need to do that. I can do it for myself. That's the empowerment that you get. So
Yes.
it's about empowering yourself, and it's not about getting one another job with a better pay package. So
Mhm.
approach it as a process of empowerment and not as a process of just getting another job.
Perfect, perfect. I think that is something very important to keep your expectations right, and how you can use this one course to actually transform your career or your role. Right. I
Absolutely.
think that is all. Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you so much for your time. And yes, there are few very key takeaways which are out there, especially like. The journey of especially that 2006 7 8 9 to CMT, and how someone from a non-technical background came into this TA, and how he mastered and actually projecting back in 2013 about the market for next 8 years. I mean, that is something phenomenal.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Lovelace. It's always pleasure to be
Yes,
talking
yes,
on the platform and sharing across my experience. I think
yes,
this is for